but we'll talk about
Okay.
when we go.
We are live. As I'm about to put in my lower third here. There it is. Okay. Hi, I'm Neal Ronaghan, director of Nintendo World Report, and with me is Daan Koopman, also of Nintendo World Report, and a bunch of other places, including Go Nintendo, Nintendo Force. I'm also from Nintendo Force, so we're here to talk about Splatoon.
Yep. And my YouTube channel, and way too much. Yes. How are you doing, everybody? It's like 5 a.m. in the morning. But we're going to talk about Splatoon, which we've been both playing for quite a while now.
Yeah. I've been really enjoying it. Sorry, I just got thrown off because the YouTube video started talking at me because I had it on to check out the chat.
All right.
So okay. Now let's go to Splatoon. I have been very much enjoying Splatoon. I know, Don, we've played a lot online. I guess let's just kind of talk about how do we feel about the online play so far, at least as much as we can say.
Yeah, I think we can say quite a lot actually regarding the online play, but not everything.
Yeah.
But I'm currently up to level 17 in the online, and 20 is as far as you can push it with weapons-wise.
Yeah.
So I have experienced like the majority, the run of what it currently contains, and I've been having a blast with it.
Yeah, I think I'm around 13. I petered out a little bit because I focused a lot more on the single player and all that jazz. And also playing the ranked battle mode, which we'll talk about a little later. I have bad luck with that. But the turf war itself, it hasn't gotten old, and people have kind of complained about how there's 5 maps, and we've put in probably more time than we care to admit at this point. I think at least with online time, or at least match-wise, I was kind of guesstimating that I've played at least 50, probably more. I don't know. It's because when you get in a zone, when you get in that splat zone, the fun doesn't stop. You just keep on going.
Yeah, I'm currently over 2 full days already with my playing time on Splatoon.
Damn. I think I'm around 25, 30 hours, but I think some of that is also baked into the fact that for people who don't know, with the review copies that are out in the wild, when we play online, we're only playing with other reviewers, and there's like a handful of people from Nintendo and stuff that also have codes. So sometimes it's really hard to get an online game, and you'll sit in a lobby for a while. So my 30 hours of Splatoon, there's probably a few hours of downtime in which I just played a lot of Squid Jump, or eventually got to a point where I would just join an online room and go do other things and have the volume up, so that if I heard that ding that we had 8 people, I would run back.
Yeah, I would just sit here writing behind my laptop and just writing things and look at my television and wait until it's done.
Yeah. Hopefully when the game comes out, that will not be an issue. And if the global test fire was kind of any indication of what it might be, that hopefully won't be an issue come launch day, especially launch day. And
I think the big difference between our test version now and with the global test fire, it just kept going for the entire hour. It didn't really stop. And with here, you experience some downtime. I had a good string of matches now and again. Last night, I had a string of a good 12 to 30 matches in a row, which was insane. Which didn't do my work any good, but there you go. But there were also times where you just got one match in, and then you had to wait for another person to finally join again. Which hopefully shouldn't be the case when the actual game comes out.
I've been loving messing around with weapons. What's your personal favorite weapon so far?
My personal favorite weapon is the arrow spray, I think it's called.
That's me too. I just got a new one of those because I think I was using the arrow spray MG, and I think I unlocked the arrow spray MG. The one with the ink mine is the one that I just unlocked, and I'm excited. It's my first weapon with an ink mine, so I'm kind of stoked to try that out.
Yeah, I have the one with the ink striker attached to it.
We actually had a reviewer, Jelani. I'm not sure how to pronounce his name.
Jelani. I guess.
Jelani, he said we should hop online right now, but I think we're gonna do this first and then probably hop online.
Yeah, we'll finish this up and then we'll probably hop online
Yeah.
later. But yeah, I think that was the one that kind of clicked for me the best. Like when I played the global test fire all 3 rounds, I thought at the end of those 3 hours, I probably thought that the Splattershot Junior or the Splatforder would do it for me. But as time went on, and I really started playing around with that specific moveset, again with the Ink Striker, with the Arrow Spray, and I don't know what the secondary weapon is in that set again. But
Is that oh god, the Seeker, right?
I think that's the Seeker. It could also be the Ink Mine. I'm not sure one of those two.
It's I know that the Arrow Sprays. There's two of them.
Yeah.
Right? There's one with the Seeker and one with the Ink Mine.
Yeah, but I've been using that set like particularly most for my matches now, and it's kind of weird to go back to the Paint Twirler and thinking that would be my OP weapon of choice.
Yeah.
But I've been kind of really going back on it. That being said, like most of the weapons in later on are really well balanced to compete with the other high level weapons. So it's good to level up. It's pretty important to level up.
Like you do get weapons by beating the single player mode, and I think that's actually where you get the first Arrow Spray is near the end of the single player mode. And then everything else is kind of based on level. And actually, some of the single player weapons you need to be at a certain level before you can have access to them. So I still have a handful of weapons that I haven't unlocked, and there's probably there's a good chunk of weapons to choose from, and they each have their own variation and kind of specialty. I know the one that's been shown off in the direct is like with the Splat Charger. There's one with a scope, so that's also another one that I just unlocked, and I haven't really messed around too much with. But I do love the variety of the weapons, but I find myself leaning towards things that have a rapid fire. I think that more aligns with just how I play shooters in general, where I'm not the kind of person that's got precision aiming. I just need to fire a lot really quickly.
Yeah, I mean, there's the variety of weapons there is amazing. Like, I mean, I love the Arrow Spray, but there are other good weapons there. Like, for any player in particular, depending on what you exactly like, there's something for you there. I saw something about a blaster yesterday, which shoots this one ink ball right at your opponent, which is also really cool. But
I found that weapon to be just about useless in Turf War.
I found it interesting. I won with that weapon a few times in Turf Wars, but I don't think it would be my weapon of choice to use. But I do think that people who apply a certain strategy into going into Turf Wars might have a good usage for it.
Yeah. I mean, it seems like, and there's a couple other like more offensive weapons, and I think that blaster, and for people who don't know, basically it's you shoot out like a bullet of paint, and it just kind of like explodes, and it almost kind of resembles the way that the Splat Charger works, that it like leaves paint in its wake. But the benefit of that is that when it does kind of hit people, it's like a one-shot kill pretty much if you hit them dead on.
Yeah, if it's that's how I mostly got my kills, just pretty much being dead on with that weapon.
Yeah. But kills are so undervalued in Turf Wars. It's all about that paint. It's not about how many. I mean, getting a lot of kills in Turf War feels awesome, but that's not the end all be all for success in that.
It does help. It does help your other team members a lot.
Yeah.
Because they could get more around the playing field, and you would just keep the opponents just in one place, just shooting them over and over, which kind of becomes funny at some stage.
But I did find, I've kind of, I guess, shifting gears a little bit to the ranked mode. Splat zones, which is basically you're capturing a point on the map. Some maps have 2 points, some of them have 1. And I had a little success with the blaster there, in that I would just be camping out using one of my pieces of gear, which was Ninja Squid, where you don't show up in the ink, which is pretty great. And I would just pop out and shoot people in the face with a blaster. I still died a bunch because I'm not very good at splat zones. But
I have gotten better at splat zones. Like the first evening, I was absolutely terrible at it. But the second evening, which I played with a whole bunch of other people, barely played with you, sadly, one match or so. But I had way better luck because I used like different weapons and see what works, and I kind of found myself like trying different things, and it worked most of the time. But it's mostly because you're just in a way smaller space because you need to be so focused on covering those splat zones. It becomes way more focused match.
Yeah, and I mean it's kind of funny. Like the beginnings of those matches are, it's everybody moving really quick to those center areas, as opposed to like I always notice with turf wars, the people like your team kind of fans out and tries to cover as much ground as possible, where it's almost to your advantage for splat zones of working as a unit. Which, I mean, it employs a different strategy than in the other mode, but I do feel, and especially with splat zones, that man, voice chat would be wonderful with that. Like I think Turf War, like the more that I play it, the more that I don't think that voice chat is something that we're really missing out on as much. Like definitely with friends, it would still be fun.
Yeah.
But like I think that Turf War kind of works fine on its own. Like you can kind of see, I mean, especially as you learn the game more, you'll go in, you'll be like, all right, we got like 2 rollers, we got a guy with a blaster, so hopefully he's going to go kill people, and I got a splatter shot junior. So we all we play our class.
Yeah.
But then, I mean, especially early on, you're gonna have people that are just screwing around. Like I've been caught in matches where I'm using a weapon I've never used before, and I just do terrible because I don't know what you do with that yet. And there's going to be that learning curve, and it's kind of, I guess, almost tough to kind of convey that without any kind of messages. It's almost like how they have the "come on" and "booyah" if there was like a IDK WTF button. That if you're just trying this for the first time, I have no idea.
Yeah, but I do think it's really awesome, like that experiencing like a new wave of weapons. Like I've been every time I try a weapon, I just
screwing me, man. Like I just like I said earlier, I just unlocked a weapon with that, and so many times when I was playing the past 2 nights, because right now, like there was a time where I was around level 10 and 11, and that's where everyone else was, but now people are up to level 16 or 18. So they've unlocked more weapons than me, and the ink mine keeps on popping up, and I haven't used it, so I don't know what to look for as much. I'm slowly getting it, but there's been so many times where I'm like, well, how come there's no one here? And then I blow up.
Yeah, I do feel like what I was trying to make my point is that every time I try a new weapon, I just having like this fancy over me trying to figure everything out, just having all sorts of new ideas with it, which is still happening to me. That's why like playing the game online with just 5 map has never become old for me, because every time I try a new weapon, a new strategy, or a new idea just on the map, I'm just finding new things to do.
Yeah. No, I mean, I love that about this game, that there's just a lot of experimentation that you can do. And I guess I think the next time I go online, I'm going to use some splat chargers, because I've been playing with this little girl. There, camera. It's the Inkling Girl amiibo. I just got this in the mail today, and outside of like having, like I don't know if it shows up on the camera there, but there's kind of like a weird like seam on the ear. It doesn't really show up. It looks really nice. Like I like the design of these amiibos a lot. It looks very, very Nickelodeon, like most of the game. But all of the challenge types for the Inkling Girl are all basically, they're just regular single player levels, but you use the Splat Charger as opposed to a splatter shot. And because of that, I actually am kind of being backed into a corner and learning how to use the Splat Charger. And
I feel that would be the same for me.
I kind of like that, because especially, I mean, in the test fire, I kept on trying to use the Splat Charger, and it's just that I didn't really have a time to figure out what I was doing. I just kept on getting rolled over by rollers, because when people don't know what you're doing, splat rollers are overpowered, and then people figure out what to do, and splat rollers can be very easily defeated. But I didn't know what I was doing with the Splat Charger, and because of the single player missions, now I kind of think I have a handle on what the Splat Charger is used for, and I'm very excited to try that out.
Talking about weapons, I was terrible at. The Splat Charger was the one. I was very bad with Splat Charger, so I'm looking forward to those missions to kind of train me to learn how to play it. Because even when I'm playing during the test fire, and I record like one match of that, and I look back and it's like, wow, I was terrible, absolutely dreadful. But and the other 2 amiibo, you don't have those, but I heard what they unlock really, and that's with the boy, you get missions with the splat roller,
Oh, cool.
and with the squid, you get missions with only a certain amount of ink, or you are the Kraken all the time, so you have to be really fast through a level.
That sounds really awesome. I can't wait to play all of those challenges. And we're a little more restricted as to what we can talk about with the single player. We can only talk to the end of chapter 3. But I think that we are on the same page. And the single player is incredible. Like
here's my thing. When I looked back at the single player trailer, it's like I thought it would be fun, but I didn't think it would last. But that single player lasts.
Yeah, and especially let's not beat around the bush. All the amiibo stuff, it's repurposing single player levels. And after birding through about half of those the Inkling Girl challenges, like these are all levels that I played like a couple days ago. And I don't care. It's still really thrilling to, go in there and attack each spot, especially with a different weapon.
Yeah, the wonderful thing about those single player levels is that they're so eloquently designed, because I didn't know what to expect again from watching that trailer like a few months back, and now looking at those levels and just playing and replaying them again, it just gives it such a Mario Galaxy edge in this very different setting.
Yeah, I feel like it's Galaxy meets Sunshine. It really is.
Yeah.
Like that's kind of what it comes down to, is that you have a very Galaxy vibe by the fact that like you're on these kind of little planetoids and using like the squid jump pad like you would the launch star in Mario Galaxy to go from one planetoid to another one. They're all like kind of like focused mini challenges. There's some areas are a little more explorative, some of them are just linear paths. And then as far as the Sunshine stuff, like a lot of the paint stuff that you have to do, especially in the single player, it just makes me think of some of the challenges that you'd have to do with the water stuff in Super Mario Sunshine.
The interesting thing, I had, of course, like a few hours earlier than you got the code. So the first few hours, there were not many people online. So I pretty much spent those on the single player.
That was my thing. I didn't play the single player for a couple days because I lucked out where every time I would hop online and there would be people there. So I'd be like, well, I'm not going to waste this because this is going to dry up over the review period.
Yeah, I wasn't that quick European ruse, so there were not many people there.
Yeah. Well, Monday was earlier for you guys than it was for us.
Yeah, we got it like at 4 p.m. in the afternoon. Like nobody was downloading games at that point, man.
Yeah.
It's like so I downloaded the game and I mostly played through the single player. Like I spent entirely that evening afterwards, like immediately writing that preview.
Yeah.
So, and I blasted for the single player because I loved it so much. So my first the first hours of playing that game was solely single player focused, and then you kind of have more like strategy or more thought like to put in for the multiplayer, because you know how you can approach certain enemies from a different point of view. It becomes super interesting, especially since you have actual enemies to deal with in that mode. And man, those missions are amazing, because with the single elements they put in every single of those levels, you just feel that they have really thought it through.
Yeah, and it's almost like each level is kind of based around like one concept, and then they kind of just keep on like embellishing and improving upon that concept. And then as you progress, like then some levels will mix the concepts together, and then you even have ones that like oh man, it would be so great if there was a horde mode in this game or something like that, because they have some levels where you're facing the Octolings, which are the octopus version of the Inkling characters that you're playing as. And it's like and most of these are on stages from the multiplayer mode, and you're going around them, and then you'll run into these Octolings, and you'll have to outwit and shoot them. And like I really hope that along the line there's like a co-op horde mode or something, because I love the way that combat feels in this game. And in the multiplayer modes right now, combat's kind of minimalized because the focus is a lot more on painting the ground, which don't get me wrong, that's a ton of fun, but it'd be kind of cool to see more variety in the modes as time moves on. because then different weapons would be better for different modes and stuff like that. Whereas right now, I think that there are certain weapons that, unless you're playing a very, very specific role, they're not really that versatile in Turf Wars.
Yeah, I think like one of the upcoming modes that is promised after launch, like really focuses on that. I don't remember what it was called, but it's like one of your players is on that platform and it just moves
Yeah.
about till you go. I
Yeah,
think
because
that
that'll be a lot more with, shooting people down to defend your guy on the platform.
yeah, I'm kind of looking forward to that because it brings like new elements to that multiplayer.
Yep.
Because while I do, again, I agree. I think that both of those games or game modes are really fun, but they're at some point, like at some point later down the line, you just want something more, I think.
Yeah. So what else is there? Well, I guess look, let's see what questions we might have. 20 is the max level. Um, what's your preferred control scheme? I am a motion control man.
Motion control, man.
Yeah. I know a lot of people were kind of complaining that you can only use the pro controller in the local multiplayer, the one-on-one mode, Battle Dojo.
Yeah.
And you can't use the pro controller in any other part of the game, which I know people were kind of crying bloody murder at, but especially after playing Battle Dojo and realizing how, the gamepad and the touchscreen really are kind of integral to the experience of this game. Because there are certain things that are kind of almost automated in Battle Dojo. Like, the squid jumping thing doesn't really happen because you don't have a touchscreen to tap on. And I guess there would
Yeah.
be ways around that, but I think that would kind of disbalance the game.
True. Yeah, I am absolutely in agreement with that. I don't see, even if the option was there, I would have never seen myself using the pro controller because you lose something in the process.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's kind of like, to a degree, it's not that drastic, but it kind of reminds me of Kid Icarus Uprising in a way, in that people shied away from the motion. Well, not for that. The touchscreen controls in Kid Icarus Uprising's case,
Hmm.
and people kind of crave dual stick, but like the game is built around a specific way of controlling it. So I feel like gyro aiming is, I mean, especially kind of bouncing between back and forth between the two of them in the test fire when I first got the full version of the game. I just, it seemed like more of a natural fit to have the motion controls, and it's great that they have the option for people that aren't into that. But I think that
Hmm.
that's the better way to play the game.
Yeah, sometimes switch between the stick and the motion controls. I'm a bit of a hybrid person, more. I have the feeling. Um, I just leave them both enabled and see what works for me.
Yeah. And Riley Orr asked, do weapons change every day? No, they do not. There is a kind of a preset amount of weapons that you unlock as levels go on.
Hmm.
And yeah, and the clothes do change, although it seems like, and I think some people on the internet may have been looking more closely into this than I have. I don't know about you, Don, but I think that a lot of the clothes that have been showing up, there is kind of like an order to them. Like, I don't know if it's quite random.
I'm not sure either if it's random. I have more the feeling that they appear in order, yeah.
Yeah.
Because it starts when you. So you can't start buying gear onto your certain level. And when you unlock that, you start at level 1 gear, which gives you one specific ability, an unlockable ability when you use that gear enough.
Yeah.
And then later on, when you level up more, you get 2-star gear, and when you level up even more, you get 3-star gear,
I got my
which gives
first
you
3-star gear.
4 freaking slots,
Yeah. Which
which
will
is
take a while to
incredible.
unlock all those abilities.
Yeah, absolutely, but it's worth it because you will have more versatile gear.
Yeah. And then that's the kind of stuff where if people who watch the direct, what are they? They're, I think, sea snails that you get from the Splatfests.
Yeah.
The like Team Cat, Team Dog, et cetera, et cetera.
Hmm.
And I think there's also other ways that you can unlock sea snails, and you can get them to kind of respec your gear, because you have that one main gear or that one main ability that's set in stone. But then as you play with that gear, you randomly unlock other spots there.
Yeah, I wonder if you get like such a snail that you can select the gear you want yourself or the ability you want yourself.
Yeah, I mean, we haven't been able to try that yet, but I am curious to see how that works because I have been kind of like depending on the mode that I'm playing or the weapon that I'm using, I'll usually tweak what my gear is because for certain ones maybe I want to have it so my special goes up way more or my main weapon the ink doesn't deplete as fast or
Yeah.
I mentioned earlier in splat zones I would do the thing where ninja squid where I can't be seen.
Yeah,
um,
I do think it's important to mention that if you get an ability multiple times, it does stack.
yeah,
Um,
but
because
I think the line is that it does stack but it's not as potent. Like it's kind
yeah,
of like
I
it's like it. Let's say like the when you have the thing that adds like or like you have more ink.
hmm,
Like it might be like now you have 10% more ink. If you have a second one of those, it's something like 5% more ink. And if you have a third one, then it might be 2.5% or something like that.
yeah, I have three of those that add more ink, and it's like roughly 20% now extra ink.
Oh, that's awesome.
Hmm.
What other questions do we have? We do need a deathmatch mode. I agree. We cannot say exactly how many worlds are in the single player, but the amount of levels are known. If
Hmm.
you want to go look into that, you can kind of infer some things.
I don't want to say it though because
Yeah,
honestly,
yeah. I'm not gonna
honestly,
say we are embargoed. We cannot say it, but I know that even before we got the final version of the game, the amount of single player levels was out in the open, so it's out there if you look for
yeah.
it. If anybody else has any more questions, feel free to send them in on the YouTube chat, or if you tweet at the Twitter that is right below me at Nintendo_NWR. Ask us questions that way, um, and then we'll kind of fumble to come up with more things to talk about. Like, have you played Battle Dojo yet? The local multiplayer mode?
Yeah, I've played Battle Dojo a bunch of times with friends that came over. I mean it's fun, but it's like
Yeah,
it's really different than anything else in that game. And I do think in a game where everything is fun, it's the least amount of fun, even though it
I
is still fun.
I agree, and like I was kind of expecting it to be worse when I played it, but
Yeah,
I did enjoy it, and I kind of like I was like, oh, okay, I see. Like it seems to have the same kind of thought and smart design of turf wars and splat zones, but it just like it's a one-on-one mode. There's not really a lot of like variables in
I,
that.
I do think it would be cool if that mode would be available online.
Yeah, that would be fun to kind of have that change of pace. But I
Yeah.
think that they seem to be maybe I don't know if there's a fear of maybe there's not enough of a user base or they don't or they've seen stuff like what happened with Master Chief Collection and maybe Nintendo's trying to avoid that. But I mean, at launch, everyone's going to be playing the same mode, so you're not going to run into as many problems where people can't find matches because everyone's playing the same mode. And I know I've seen
Yeah.
stuff. I'm not a big shooter guy, but I have seen stuff that like over time, like modes just don't get they're not active online. Like
Hmm.
people might be really active in deathmatch and team deathmatch. There's just not people there.
And I think that how they stagger this stuff is really, really well done.
Yeah,
Like,
like
like because I used to be annoyed with it. Like before, after the
same
direct,
here.
I was kind of annoyed with how they set up with how ranked mode is unlocked and how the different modes unlocked and how more maps are coming after launch. But after thinking about it like really through and after playing it for this long, I kind of realized they have thought about this.
Yeah, like there's definitely logic in the idea of having new things come out over the span of a couple months, and especially in the Iwata asks, we found out that I think the from the developer back at E3, which is what that was about a year ago. Splatoon was 10% done at E3.
Yeah.
So they've done the majority of the work in the past year. And you know what? Like, we're probably never going to hear it directly, but probably the stuff that's coming out over the next couple of months might have been meant to be in like the spec for the full retail game. But if you kind of look at it that way, is that it's kind of rolling it out I mean, it's almost like you're buying a built-in season pass, which I feel like we might be getting to a level of kind of being like dumb Nintendo apologists by the fact that we're like, oh no, it's fine. They're going to piecemeal to us. They're going to spoon feed us all this content. But I don't really think it's that bad because you have Turf War, you have these weapons to experiment with. Then Splat Zones is going to
I
come out,
do.
and then you'll
I
have
do.
more stuff to do, and then you'll have that thing with the tower that moves. There's another mode. There's going to be more weapons. And that's all
Yeah.
going to be coming out and keeping you involved and keeping you engaged.
I do see a problem with maybe asking $60 for it, but there's there's a precedent here in Europe where it's only 40, so it's a bit more an experimental price.
Yeah.
So,
I feel like, as dumb as it sounds, it might just be that, like, oh, yeah, Americans like shooters more. Like, that might be some of the logic for that.
yeah,
Um,
I don't know.
our very own John Raridan asked, does playing single player and Battle Dojo benefit your online profile? In single player, you do unlock weapons. And actually, one of my favorite weapons is one that you unlock in single player. So there. But Battle
Yeah,
Dojo is kind of its own thing. It doesn't really affect
we
anything
can't
else.
really specify what you unlock in single player further, but at the end you do get something, and I think it's worth it.
Yeah, there's things that you get in single player that also might be on the internet somewhere, but we are not at liberty to say.
Yep.
So Don, are you a kid or a squid now?
I'm a squid now. I'm a squid now. No, no.
Everyone hates that commercial. I don't know why. I really just think it's fun. And every now and then I'll see Bill Trinen tweet about like I'm a kid now, and then it'll make me think of that dumb commercial, and it's just really kind of cute.
I think it's a really fun commercial. I don't understand what people are talking about really.
Yeah. I think, oh man, there's a part of me that just wants to go play more. Like the music is so awesome.
Yeah, I do think that there's a bit too little music.
It's repetitive.
Yeah. I
Um,
mean, I'm not sick of the songs that I'm hearing.
yeah, like and you noticed in your hands-on preview on NintendoWorldReport.com that in the single player, it's kind of like there's only like 3 or 4 songs and they repeat, but like those songs are really good. Like
yeah,
I don't,
those songs
I
are. I do have a small problem with it because I wanted just a little bit more variety.
yeah,
But they are good. I mean, they're not annoying or anything. They're just good songs. But
yeah.
I just think there would have been a little bit more. I just needed a little bit more of that.
Yeah, I definitely agree to that. And as someone who kind of burned through the majority of single player like over a weekend, those songs are stuck in my head, and it's a wonderful thing to be sitting at work and just kind of recall some of the single player music because it's so much fun. With core, man.
I've been all of the single player in a day, so so there you go.
So is that? Do we have anything else to go over with Splatoon?
I don't necessarily think so. Actually, I think we covered everything there.
Yeah. We'll be if you check out our Twitter things, I'm at nron10 NRON10, and Don is at Nintendon. You can follow us on Twitter, and we'll be talking more about Splatoon. We'll be writing about Splatoon for Nintendo Report and other places too. We are going to have we don't have the first night set up, but we will have what is technically called Splat Nights. That's the name that I'm kicking around. Just splat everything. We're gonna have splat chats, splat nights.
We should have multiple splat chats for new content release, like the big update in August or something.
Yeah, no, that sounds fantastic.
Yeah.
But probably I think the first one might be like the Monday or Tuesday after the game comes out.
Makes sense.
We will maybe add in some way that we can all kind of talk while we play and just all go online and play Splatoon and hopefully splat the hell out of each other. I can't wait to play this game so much with everybody watching and people who aren't watching.
Even though we have to start all the way over.
Yeah, and that's also I think this has kind of gone out there, but like we're playing with like a pre-launch review code, which it is ostensibly the entire game, but it's running on servers just for reviewers.
Yeah.
But yeah, that is Splatoon so far. There will be a review of some sort, maybe not with a score, on Nintendo World Report on May 27th. So keep an eye out for that. And thank you very much for watching.
Mm-hmm.
Bye.
Bye.